Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty good one. I hope you enjoy this. Before we jump into it, just want to say my new song came out a few days ago. If you haven't heard it yet, I'll leave it first link in the description. If you listen to it and you like it, feel free to add it to one of your playlists. That really helps out a lot. And if you are listening to it, tweet me on Twitter, tag me on IG, screenshots of you guys listening to it. I'm going to be liking as many as I can and following some people back all week. But anyway, today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty crazy one. Let's jump right into this. So this story time takes place back in 2017. I was hanging out at a friend's house, and me, my friend, and his family had a plan to go to this music festival for the weekend. His parents were really big fans of rock music, and there was a rock festival going on nearby my hometown. So we were going to drive an hour and camp at the campsite there and stay the whole weekend and go to this music festival. Now, me and my friend didn't really care too much about the music festival, but his parents did a lot. So we were mainly going just to hang out, but the rest of his family was going there for a bunch of different reasons. His parents wanted to go because they loved the music and they wanted to go watch the music and drink. And then his aunt and uncle who were coming with us, they would just drink in the camper and then go to other people's campers and party with them. And that's pretty much all they were there to do, was just party. So this all started on Friday. Me, my friend, and his family got in this camper that they rented, and we drove all the way up to the campgrounds, got a nice spot, got all set up for the weekend, and the trip had officially begun. Now, the first day wasn't too interesting. They just did what they always did, which is drink, go watch the bands, hang out in the camper, cook food. That's really all they did for the first day. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Me and my friend went out to the stores nearby, and we just got some snacks and explored the area. We hadn't been in this area too many times, so we were just checking it out. We were checking out the campgrounds, checking out the festival grounds. Me and my friend walked a mile up the road, and we found this town, and we were checking that out as well. So we were basically just getting used to our surroundings. Now, fast forward to Saturday. This is when stuff started to get a little crazy, okay? So Saturday morning, the morning started off very normal. We got ready for the day. Me, my friend, and his parents left the camper early to go to the festival grounds because his parents wanted to get a good spot in the crowd. They wanted to be up front for this first band. They were really big fans of this band that was playing. And his aunt and his uncle stayed behind in the camper to just, enjoy their morning and get ready to go out later that night and party, basically. So me, my friend, and his parents walked right up to the barrier, we were right in front of the stage. They got a great spot for the concert, and there was still 2 hours before the first band even came on to perform. So pretty much nobody was there yet. It was literally just me, my friend, and his parents, and two other people. So they were all just gonna stand there for hours until the first band came so they could get a good spot in the crowd. So that's what they did, and we told them, all right, have fun. We're going to go back to the camper now and relax. And his parents were like, okay, you don't want to hang out and watch the band with us? And my friend's like, Mom, the band doesn't start for another 2 hours. And she's like, we know, but we had to get a good spot. You know this. And my friend's like, yeah, I don't want to stand in the hot sun for 2 hours before the band even performs. So yeah, we waved goodbye to them. My friend's mom said that she would text us when they were done and coming back to the camper. We said okay. We went back to the camper, hung out with his aunt and uncle for a little bit. And then when the show finally started, we ventured out back to the festival grounds and started watching some of the bands. But right when we got to the festival grounds, my friend got a text message, a pretty concerning text message, that was basically going to change the whole rest of the trip. So my friend gets a text message and he opens it up and it's from his mom and it says, "Need your help." And that was it. And then she sends another text message right after that and it says, "Right now." So my friend starts freaking out. He replies, she doesn't respond. He calls her, it goes straight to voicemail. He's freaking out. So me and my friend ran to the stage that we last saw them at, and we can't find them in the crowd at all. We're asking people if they've seen them. We're showing photos of them. We're freaked out. We have no idea what's wrong. And then my friend gets another text from his mom, and it was a photo message of this beer tent nearby, and that's where they were. So me and my friend ran over to this beer tent. We get to the beer tent, and there's a whole crowd of people just surrounding my friend's parents and this other couple, and they're screaming at each other in the middle of this crowd. So me and my friend go through the whole crowd, we get to the middle, and my friend screams at his parents. He's like, "What's going on?" And his mom's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. They're trying to fight us." And this other couple that was probably the same age as my friend's parents, they start screaming at us, full volume. "Oh, you want to fight us too? Your parents brought you in for backup? That's cute. You two little kids don't stand a chance." And my friend starts yelling back at them. He's like, "You guys are in your 40s trying to fight my parents? Now you're trying to fight me, their son? What's wrong with you guys? You guys are trash." And when he said that, the dad got real angry. He got up in our faces, screaming at us. He threw his drink up in the air and it rained down on pretty much everybody in the crowd, and that just made everybody really angry. And he was just causing a scene. So my friend's dad gets in between us, and he's like, "All right, break it up. You're not fighting my kid. Just back up. Let's go our separate ways." And the dad goes, "No, you're a pussy. Come on, fight. Let's go. Let's fight." And my friend's dad's like, no, I'm not fighting you. You're not fighting my kid. Like, let it go. We're done here. And this guy takes off his hat and throws it at me for some reason. I didn't even say anything. He just threw it at me and he hit me in the chest. And it falls to the ground and he looks at me and he goes, pick my hat up and throw it back here. So I yell back. I'm like, dude, I'm not picking up your hat. You just threw it at me. And then he's like, well, I don't want it on the muddy ground, so pick it up. I'm like, well, if you didn't want it on the ground, maybe you shouldn't have thrown it at me. He's like, I'm not asking again. Pick it up right now and throw it back here. Now. Now, what I did next was very petty, and I definitely shouldn't have done it, but I reached down and I picked up his hat, and I frisbeed it as far as I could into the crowd away from us. And that beyond triggered him. Like, he pushed my friend's dad out of the way, he ran up to me, he started cussing me out in my face, and next thing I know, my friend's dad grabs him by the back of the shirt and just sends him flying away from me, like just pulls him and throws him back. And the next thing I know, it was a full-blown fight. His dad was fighting this guy, his mom was fighting this woman, and it was just a full-on 2v2, and my friend had no idea what to do, and neither did I, so we just started trying to break it up, and the whole time there's this crowd just forming around us, bigger and bigger. Like, at this point, the crowd got so big that the festival goers probably thought it was a band performing or something. So there's this huge crowd, everyone's yelling, I can't even understand what anyone's saying, and me and my friend were just trying to break up his parents from fighting this other couple, and this one random guy from the crowd came out and started trying to help us as well, which was actually really helpful because he was a big dude, and we were actually able to get my friend's dad and this guy to stop fighting. And then after that, we tried to get my friend's mom and this lady to stop fighting. But when we moved on to them, the dad and the other guy started fighting again. So it was a really hard thing to do. So what we ended up doing is we broke up my friend's dad and this guy from fighting. And we had the random guy that was helping us hold them apart. And then me and my friend broke up my friend's mom and this lady from fighting. And I just couldn't believe that security didn't come and help us. Like, there was a bunch of security at this festival. I'm surprised none of them saw this. Like, people at the beer tent that were serving beer were watching this happen and didn't call security. Like, they worked there and they didn't call security. That just shocked me. So anyway, we break it up. Me and my friend's parents walked back to the camper. Luckily, they were completely fine, and the other people were completely fine. There was no, like, visible, like, scratches or bleeding or anything like that. They were all good. So we get back to the camper, and we sit down, and I ask my friend's parents, I'm like, are you guys all good? And they're like, yeah, we're fine, thank you. I'm like, I am so sorry I threw that guy's hat. Like, that definitely just stirred the pot even more. I don't know why I did it. I was just upset because he threw it at me. And my friend's dad's like, no, don't be sorry. The minute he threw his hat at you, I knew what was going to happen. So don't even worry about it. And that kind of shocked me. I thought my friend's parents were going to be mad at me for what I did because it definitely stirred the pot. But they weren't. If I could go back and redo it, I definitely wouldn't have thrown that hat because that definitely did not help at all. But anyway, after this, I asked my friend's parents, I'm like, how did that fight even start? And my friend's dad was like, well, we were in the crowd up front and they were trying to push us out of the way to get a better spot. And I told them we'd been here for hours. And then he said, too bad, and pushed me out of the way. So then I pushed him back and we started yelling at each other. So me and my wife tried to go back to the beer tent and calm down, and they followed us there. And when you guys got there, that's what you saw. So yeah, in the end, everybody was okay. They weren't hurt. I don't think the other couple was either. And yeah, later that night, my friend's aunt and uncle came back to the camper, and we told them that there was a fight, and they just didn't believe us. But eventually we convinced them. But anyway, yeah, in the end, everyone was all good. Moral of this story is don't instigate fights, and don't be like that couple either at festivals. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
I'm like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead, and now they know they're fucked. All my texts are unread, that's how I know she's done. My life changed in a flash, all my friends gone. My friends gone.